I understand you love the book, The Fountainhead
I
by
do.
Ayn Rand. It's about success. It's about branching off on your own, staying with the group, something to that effect. What is it about the book and which character do you most relate to?
It's a good question, right? So again, I'm an English lit major, so I like to read. I love reading books, and The Fountainhead is a very complicated book because of the personality of the person who wrote it, right? I feel like her later works, or maybe even earlier works, but embrace more of a social ideology that I do not agree with. But The Fountainhead isn't about that. To me, The Fountainhead is about an artist being true to themselves, right? And a person's ability to be the best version of themselves, whether it's in art or, you know, just being a human or whatever. But I guess Rourke is the guy. I'm not like, it's Howard Rourke, right? I'm not making that up. Rourke is the architect who is unflinching in his belief that we should do things the most direct, simple way and get rid of all this ornate, you know, silly design stuff if it doesn't further the legitimacy of the building or the, you know, whatever it is. And I believe in that. And I believe in the idea of like standing up for what you believe artistically and fighting those fights and believing that you have the power to do that, right? Because what we were talking about earlier, there was a time where all I wanted to do, my biggest dream, was being told to stand on this mark and say this line, and when I tell you to move, then you move. And then I would wait by my phone for people to call me and offer me those jobs, and that was the idea, right? And now I'm in a place where I love to create and build my own, artistic structures. And that book is one of the things that gave me permission to do so, right? To get out there and to try and to be one of the people that's making a difference and doing it right. Yes, there's lots of weird fascist stuff involved with it, but it has nothing to do with me. That's what I like about The Fountainhead. I think it's something that every young artist should read, you know, in their early 20s, if not before, because it gives you permission to go out there and fight the fights and, you know, to choose which hill to die on, you know, figuratively.
If you are writing a story, you may be interested in our new book, the sponsor of today's video. After months of working on a story, have you ever said to yourself, I don't know what my main character wants. Why are my side characters more interesting than my main character? 17 Steps is a workbook-style tool with specific questions to help you dive deep into your main character and story. We've linked up to 17 steps below. Now, back to the video. And Howard faces criticism.
Yes, he does, of course. Everybody does, though. Everybody does. The only people that don't face criticism are those that create nothing, right? There is not one genius filmmaker, writer, actor who doesn't have a bad review, that doesn't have somebody saying, that guy's a hack. You have to elevate yourself over that, in that the only person you're trying to impress or do work for is yourself. And you have to be a hard judge of yourself, right? You don't get to be like, I made it for me and I'm awesome. You have to, you know, and most artists are their own worst judge, I feel. But like, if you can have a movie or a piece of art that's finished, that goes out into the world, and these people over here love it, and this guy from Variety says it's garbage, and then not let that destroy you, then you're doing okay. It's like, because he's just a guy from Variety. I've directed more movies than he has. You know what I mean? And I think that that's an important thing for all artists to have, is that thing in the middle that's just like, I've done the best with what I had to work with that I possibly could. I'm very proud of it. You have to be tough on yourself. You have to challenge yourself. You have to listen to other people. You know, in the creative process of, like, you know, if you're married to something that you shouldn't be in the movie, somebody will tell you. Somebody will say, this opening is not working. And if you just say, no, 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 You have to say, well, let's try it without it and see if I still like it. But I'm warning you, I'm going to put it back if we don't convince me of something. And then you make it better. But the idea with directing, I always say this, is I've taken it apart and put it back together in so many different ways that I know this is the best version of this movie. And that's how you sleep at night, right? It's like, I don't care if anybody likes it because I like it and I'm a harsh judge. And that is very much kind of the thesis of Fountainhead.
Sure, and it was written, of course, many, many years ago before social media.
Right.
So it had Howard, had people on Twitter or wherever chiming in on what they thought of him or his work or his career. Do you see that in some of your students? I mean, it's a different landscape than graduating in '96 or whenever.
Yeah.
Being 18 on the movie set. It was all that. Those voices weren't. They might have been thinking it, but they didn't have access to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy. I don't think. I don't know that it's ever been easy though. I feel like I have a lot of empathy for young people coming out of high school or college, right now, because there's just so much. I feel like everybody's dealing with a lot right now, but like when I see young people, especially young artists, who are, stereotypically more sensitive, more passionate, more critical, it's just tough all around. And I just feel like we could all benefit with a little more empathy. Because I feel like the social media, as we all know, I'm not reinventing the wheel by saying this, but like being able to criticize or be cruel to somebody, from behind a computer screen is the easiest thing in the world, You can say lots of things that you wouldn't say face to face. And I feel like, these kids get a lot of it. And it's not right. It's not right. But also, everybody's a mess right now. I feel like we're still all just trying to pull it back together after, some very devastating years. So I feel like everybody being a little nicer to everybody wouldn't cause too many problems.